Well, Dr. Sharmee Pratt. It's a
Yes,
pleasure.
it's a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise, welcome to blacktruth.net. Um, we're recording now, and
Okay.
I want to start off with this mental health thing, man.
Okay.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, and in all fairness, I haven't heard anything, but the ironic thing before I actually got your email was that I was getting a lot of talks, not just now, but prior to that, about mental health.
hmm
And surprisingly enough, from young people, I have friends who have teenagers and things of that nature, kids growing up, and mental health is a big thing. So,
hmm
do you think it's an increase in mental health as opposed to the past?
Yes. One of the things that I truly believe has transpired is that COVID actually allowed the world to see how um, mentally, for lack of better words, unstable a lot of people really were.
Mm,
I truly believe that mental health was always in play, but it was not always given the attention that it needed to be given, right? And so mental health is nothing new. All of us struggle with some type of mental, if you will, um, for lack of better words, delays or different things that we experience just throughout life, period, right? Like for instance, we all struggle with stress, right? But what happens is many people don't realize is that stress brings on a whole lot of other dynamics in a person's life when it's not handled correctly, okay? Some people don't know how to handle different if you will, things that transpire throughout life, right? Everybody deals with a level of trauma. Everybody. The world deals with a level of trauma. Let me tell you what I mean when I say that. You can be traumatized just by losing a job. You can be traumatized by somebody being sick. Every trauma does not have to necessarily be a bad thing. It's just that it impacted your psyche in such a way where now you have to process through certain things. And the point is, many people don't know how to effectively process through things, right? And so when you think about the concepts of where we are now versus, let's just say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, right? It's not that mental health was not an issue. It's just that it was not given the attention. Let me tell you, especially in the Black community, what stays in the house, right? What goes on in this house is going to stay in the house. Okay, that's the world that I grew up in. If something happened, you don't dare take it outside the house, right? And so, if there's dysfunction or different things that are happening within the surroundings of the home, and I can't talk to anyone about it, what do you think the impact on me personally is going to be? Especially when my mind is so impressionable. And so therefore we grew up, right, in this mindset that you don't tell your business. You don't tell what's going on. So if something is happening with you, you deal with it. So now time went on, COVID happened. Okay. COVID happened. Well, COVID caused people to be isolated. Many people didn't know how to be at a place where isolation was okay, because when they left the home, for a lot of people, they were getting away from things that were transpiring within the house, right? And so if I go outside the house and I go to work or I go to school or I go do other things, then what is happening to my mind is that my mind begins to focus its attention on something that's not necessarily impacting me like it would be if I was in the house, right? So what began to happen, I believe, is that COVID began to allow the world to see how dysfunctioning many people were. like the world was able to see that mental illness or mental instability was at an all-time high, right? Because we had people committing great number of suicides, right? Just being locked up. And this was happening all across the world. It was not just happening in one set place. It was happening all over the world. Like I remember seeing things from China where people were literally jumping out their windows and different things just in other countries because they didn't know how to handle the pressure that was being inflicted. And so when I think about the whole concept of where we are now and the fact that do I see that there's an all-time increase, I can say yes, but I also can say just looking at it, the scope of everything, it was always there. It's just that it was not given much attention to. And so now it's given more attention because every time you look up, it's mental health, right? Everybody's concerned about their mental health. And so even when we're looking at the dynamics of the teenagers and the young adults today, well, here's the deal. They have so many things coming against them, especially because we are in a world where now we can see everything just by way of picking up a phone or clicking on our computer. Everything is computerized, so it gives me access to see everything that's going on in the world, right? When we were coming up, we didn't have that type of access that they have now. And so now in their minds, they're the need to compete or try to be like the next person. And so if on the inside of me, I'm already telling myself that yeah, you're not enough, or you need to do this different, or you need to do that different. And I click on the show, or I go on social media, and I only see a glimpse, right? I only see a glimpse of what somebody say their life look like. Well, my psyche begins to act like that's really transpiring. And so now I'm looking like, well, I want to be like them, or I want to be like that person, and I want to be like this person. And so now what is it going to affect? It's going to affect everything about how I see myself. It's going to affect, just the realities, no matter, even if mommy and daddy are telling me that I can do anything, that I'm great, that I'm gorgeous, that I'm handsome, whatever it is. But now my realities is still based on what I'm seeing rather than what's being spoken to me. Okay. And so that's how I just feel that things have transpired within these last few years.
We're here with Dr. Sharmee Pratt, the author of 8 Steps to Mental Wellness. Piggybacking off of that, you think people use mental health as a crutch nowadays?
That's kind of hard for me to say because some people, now I can say some people will. I'm not going to say people won't, honestly, because some people are, they like attention. And so you have that dynamic of the attention seeking individual, right? And so if I can say, to everybody, go on a clip or something and say, has dysfunctional my life is and different things like that, it's going to draw attention to me. And the sad part is many people out there, they gravitate to people trauma or people drama, right? And so some of it I can say could be. But then on another scope of it, some people are really battling with the concepts of their mental health. We have so many individual people, like literally on medication just for mental instability, whether it be depression, whether it be anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, psycho, just, and then now they have something called psycho schizophrenic. It's just so many names now that they are coming up with to begin to diagnose people, right? And so what tends to happen is they begin to medicate people based on something. I can just say, like, for some people, I truly believe a lot of it comes from people not really understanding how to handle stress or even understanding what triggers them, right? Sometimes people just you need to go to sleep. You need to rest. You know, I mean, when you don't get enough rest, your mind takes you on all type of journeys. But it has to do with lack of sleep, not the fact that you're so mentally unstable. But if I go to the doctor and I tell them all these particular these things that, well, I can't sleep, you know, I just feel like this and I feel like that, the first thing the doctor may begin to do is diagnose you as somebody that's having some type of mental issue, right? And so if that's in the mainstream right now, then yes, I believe that it will be gravitated to a little bit more than anything.
What I think is the core principles. I'm old school, so I come from the situation where the core principles of dealing with inner self, some of the things you're talking about, rest, uh, the mental, I wouldn't say toughness, but the mental individuality of just dealing with a situation that occurs in daily life. People attribute it to mental health when it's just life. You lose your job, you lose your spouse, you lose your boyfriend, you in a breakup, and all of a sudden you're depressed. So my question is that do you think, well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you agree with the medication and the diagnosis and things of that nature that are associated and attributed to um, mental health? And well, okay, you in your transcript, you dealt with mental health yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get that out the way. We're here with Dr. Sharmee Pratt, and it says, you dealt with schizophrenia, and things of that nature. And growing up, how was you able to deal with it? Let's start there. How were you able to deal with it? And then you can transfer that to, do you think that it's those core principles, or maybe how you dealt with it and other people dealt with it in the past, is that lost in today's society based on the fact that everything is so easily diagnosed, it's so easily attributed to mental health. It's not attributed to, people don't resort to core values, whether it be family, whether it be whatever you believe in, prayer, or whoever you may ascribe to, church, or just rest, eating well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there. So I guess that's a two-part question. How did you deal with your own mental health? And do you think that it's a lack of core principles, for lack of a better term, in dealing with today's society of mental health?
Okay, so for me, as you said, I dealt with schizophrenia, I dealt with bulimia, depression, anxiety, all of it, right? And so for me, you made a very valid point. Not understanding how to handle life will put you on a whirlwind and cause many people to break because you just don't understand how to handle life, right? And so for me, doing my process, because I went through a process, and doing my process, one of the things that they did, they diagnosed me and they gave me medication and they told me to go see a psychiatrist.
Mm.
Okay. I said, okay. But one of the things that I did not like was the way that they were going to just teach me how to cope with my quote unquote sickness. So they
Right.
said, we're going to teach you. So we're going to give you the medication. We're going to send you to the psychiatrist. Just know there's no cure for this. And they literally told me that there's no cure for this. This cannot be cured. But what we can do is teach you how to function with it, basically. But the medication don't teach you how to function. The
Right.
medication add all other type of other things, like taking medication. I was like a zombie. I couldn't function in life.
Right.
But you want me to go work, you want me to go do all these things, I can't. Like, I only thing I want to do is sleep, because what it began to do is shut your mind down from thinking, especially when you're dealing with schizophrenia, because now you have the process of hearing voices, right? And dealing with hallucinations and all these particular things. And
Mm-hmm.
so my process was doing just some of the things you just said. I first of all had to understand that I was not meant to just live in the earth mentally messed up and then just die. I had to believe that there was something else greater that I was put on the earth to do. That's number one. Number two, I had to come to a place just because somebody said it, I didn't have to believe their report about me. Okay. It doesn't matter who you didn't diagnose before me. I don't have to believe that report that you're telling me. And
Right.
so what can I do on my end? Because here's the thing, it was participation. I had to participate in my healing. So meaning I had to get the rest. I had to change my diet. I had to believe that life was not meant to be lived like that, regardless to what they said. And I respect doctors. I respect them because I truly do believe that some people may need, especially if you manic, that's dealing with bipolar and things where you just manic, you just can't, calm down. Okay. So when you're manic and different things like that, you may need something at the moment to just bring you down in order for you to be kind of leveled out. So I truly believe that. But I also, for myself, I'm like, I'm not going to be on this medication. So even when I sat and talked to my psychiatrist, I told him, I said, listen, I said, after I get through with this last pill, I'm not taking anything else.
Right.
This is it for me. I'm not going to do it. Now, I can't tell you that it was an easy process. I would dare not tell anybody that. It was not an easy process because remember, I'm hearing voices, I'm hallucinating, I have panic attacks. When I hear the voice, they telling me you gonna die. You eat that food, this is finna happen. So I'll go make myself throw up, which would cause me to be bulimic. You understand what I'm saying? And so there were things that I had to fight through, but nevertheless, I fought through it. Right. But I had individuals around me too, helping me to understand that you can get through this. So I had like that team of people, that army of people that was around me too, helping me to understand and praying, like you said, whatever it is that you do. For me, it was prayer. Right. For me, it was trusting in the word of the Lord. That was how I got through it. I
Mhm.
don't know how somebody else will be able to just get through it without having a team of people around them. So for me personally, I had to change my diet. I had to get rest. I had to drink plenty of water. So there were a lot of natural things I had to figure out what I'm going to look at, what I'm going to put in my ear, who I'm going to be around. There was so many dynamics that I had to go through. But those principles I went through, I can tell everybody they work. They work. It's just the point of having that perseverance and the will to not give up even when it seems like everything is going coming against you at that moment. And so that was my process. Now the other side of it is, even with everybody tell, and I'm not going to say everybody, but people dealing with this whole concept of, you know mental illness, like you say, some people just don't know how to handle life, right? Which is what really kind of threw me in a tizzy because life was hard. There were some things that I didn't understand. There were some things that I wasn't even taught, right? Because my mom died when I was 18. So
Mhm.
there was some things I didn't get taught, not having a father, around and different things. So it's like now I have to fend for myself, right? And so, therefore, when you have that and life hits you and you don't know how to handle life, then you become a prey to life. And that's what many people stand at. Many people have become a prey to life. Life happens, like you said. But in the midst of life happening, many people don't know how to handle life. And so when you have those dynamics of people don't know how, not knowing how to handle life, then you will get the dynamics of people, mentally, like they saying, losing their mind for lack of better words, or people having a nervous breakdown and different things like that. Yes, I agree with you. A lot of it has to do with life, right? And a lot of it has to do with the mental fortitude that many people believe they don't have, but they do have it. I tell people all the time, every time I counsel somebody, everything you need, you already have wrapped up on the inside of you. But you have to believe that. I can believe it for you all day long. But until you come to the place where you truly believe that there is something on the inside of you that's able to navigate you to a better place in life, it doesn't matter. I don't care who come and tell you something. I don't care who tell you how great you are or how lovely you are, of all the things that you can do, the possibilities. You will never believe it, because the issue is not from the outside. The issue is happening from the inside. And so until you can build the inner person up, you will never be able to get them to a place where they can function properly just with life happening to them.
But for clarification, you agree with medication that it's necessary, but through your counseling, through you tell people that to deal, you allow people or you instruct people to deal with their self first before they resort to medication. Am I getting that correct?
You're getting that correctly. So yes, I agree, hands down, that sometimes medication is needed. I agree with that. I'm not opposed to medicating, but we have a world full of people that's medicated, and the
Mm-hmm.
problem is the medication do more harm than good, right?
Right,
It just does. Let's just be real. I mean, they tell you something is supposed to help you with this, and they got 10,000, for lack of better words, side effects that can kill you. That makes
right.
no sense to me. And so if I learn how to deal with the inner me, right? The inner me, if I learn how to deal with that and learn principles and tools that's going to strengthen me, then yes, I truly, that's the method that I use. I give you 8 steps.
Just to be clear, we have people who, by the way, we got Dr. Sharmee Pratt here, the author of her current book, 8 Steps to Mental Wellness. But just to be clear, we have people who may watch this in the future. We're going to have this at Black Truth Television on YouTube. Um, we're going to have this on blacktruth.net. We're going to have this in the world that's out there. But just to be clear, we have people not only dealing with medication, but self-medication, drugs, extreme behavior, sexual behavior, partying, things that are addictive to take them away from mental health. And just to be clear to people who may not know how to deal with it, we have Dr. Sharmee Pratt, who's, one of the things you're telling is to deal with yourself first and try to deal with your individual and your inner strength, and you saying that it exists. So I think that's something that people need to hear. Um, as I stated, I hear a lot of mental health or mental struggle, and not just from people I know. We have athletes, we have celebrities who stop going on tour, stop playing ball. These people are millionaires, so and famous, and they cite mental health. Back when I was coming up, we never got that. Now, it doesn't mean people wasn't dealing with it, but they may have dealt with the core principle, maybe wasn't trending then in order to say that. So I think it's a combination, me personally, of everything that you discuss. I think that people didn't know how to discuss it early on. From your first point, I think that the people that I think that is diagnosed, that people conveniently resort to that because they don't know how to deal with life. And also, too, I think it's just a convenient excuse to do other things. Now, I want to ask you, Dylan, from your situation and the things that you went to, when did you decide to turn the corner from being a patient, as you will, or a victim, to a doctor, someone who helps out? When in your life did you decide that you were going to use the things that you went through to help people?
The turning point for me when just as I began to just see other people just struggle, and because for me, I'm also a minister of the gospel, right? And so when I began to look at individuals, and it was like things were going on, or they had somebody, a loved one or somebody close to them, that were dealing with some type of mental issue, or had been diagnosed with a mental issue, or things that they didn't know how to really relate on what was going on, or parents looking at their children not even understand, like, why is my child acting like this, what is this? And and just in the whole concept of the the church arena. Now listen, I'm not bashing, but a lot of it is the fact that we equate many things in the church arena to demonic spirits, okay? And so with that being said, yeah, okay, you can equate it to that, but we still need to deal with life, right? And so when I began to see that the power really have to do with people being able to transform how they think, how they perceive, because however you think about something, that's really is going to be the direction that your life try to fall in suit with, right? And so if somebody's constantly telling me that I have these particular issues, then my life will begin to manifest that. And so for me, when I began to just hear so much about it, and we're praying about it and different things like that, I'm like, hold up, God has helped me to really get to a place where I understand some things when it comes to the mental state. What can I do to give back to others that they themselves can understand that although you may journey a certain way, you don't have to end that way. You have the power to rewrite your story. And so for me, that's when I really said, you know what? It's time out. People need help, and they need help beyond medication. They need help beyond somebody giving them a diagnosis or telling them what they can't do. Because even when you're right, when you just talked about, the people on the drugs, the people, feeling, what people are trying to do is fill so many different voids, right? So many people don't understand that when they're feeling a certain type of way, automatically you want to feel or get rid of whatever that feeling is, right? You're either going to fulfill it or you're going to try to get rid of it, right? And so therefore, when you think about it, then you have to note that people are dealing with the symptoms. But if we can deal with the root issues on why you feeling like you're feeling, right? Then maybe we can help you to overcome what it is that you're dealing with. So you may be doing this, but that's the symptom, that's not the root. So if I can help you to get to the root source of why you're doing, or why you're feeling like you're feeling, or doing the things you're doing, then there is a possibility that transformation can begin to happen in your life. And this is why with medication, like I said, I'm not against it, but medication doesn't do anything but try to mask the symptoms that you're going through. It's
Right.
not dealing with your root issues. And so until we get to a place, for me, it was like, let's deal with the issue. Let's deal with the root of the source of the problem. Let's not just keep telling everybody that, oh, this is going on. So, like I said, in the church where it has to be demonic. Stop, you know? And so for me, I believe those were some things that really helped me to like move toward helping people that were out there in a different way, to help them to begin to understand why you're doing the things you're doing, why you're feeling like you're feeling. And maybe if I can help you to understand that, then maybe you can come to a place where you say, you know what, there is hope for my life. Let me deal with the fact that maybe I have daddy issues. Maybe I have mommy issues. Maybe so many things have happened to me, and I've equated my life to these things that happened to me. Just because it happened does not define you. And those are the particular things that I help to try to teach individuals. And so, yeah, it just gives me joy to just help people to come to the place where they really understand them. And so that was the point that really helped me to come to a place like, I got to help the people. I want to help the people because I know that you're greater, people are greater than what they even give their self credit for. And so many times I'll end it with this: we equate ourselves to how we operate. Just because and what I mean by that, just because you function in something, that does not mean who you are. That's who you are. That's your functionality. You
Mm-hmm.
function as a celebrity. You function as this. But what happens to us when we really don't know who we are, we begin to give identity to that thing, and that becomes a part of us. But now I have to act like that around everybody. So when do people really know who I am? So now when I show up, I got to be the celebrity, or I got to be this, or I got to be that. And so until we get to a place where we really deal with those core issues, and that's what I love helping people to do, we will never be able to see the concepts that we want to see in life.
Let's we got we got like 7 minutes left, and I wanna go into your book because that's why we're here. This is not your first book. This is your eighth book, correct?
Correct.
And 8 steps to mental wellness. So, in concluding this, I want you, if you can, and I'm going to throw all this out at once, and I want you, you got like maybe 6 minutes. So, I want you to, if you can, tell me about the new book. Tell me, the distinction between that and the other books. Tell everyone where they can find the book, and you know, let them know.
Okay, great. So the new book I got out, it gives you 8 steps to your overall mental wealth. So that's the new book I got out, 8 steps to mental wealth.
Okay.
That book can be found on, you can find it on Amazon. You can get it, go to my website. It's on my website, sharmeepratt.com. It's on there. But one key thing about this particular book is that it actually gives you 8 steps to understanding how to come into a place of your mental wealth. I love the fact that I use mental wealth because we don't understand that wealth is not just finances, right? You need to be wealthy. Your whole entire being needs to be wealthy. And when my mind is wealthy, then my whole life can be in abundance, right? I just don't have to worry about my pockets being fat or having riches and all these because my whole life, my relationships are wealthy. I have all these particular things that I'm able to contribute and give out. And so this particular book, it gives you the step-by-step instructions on how to understand like things like what the mind is really about. What is the mind? What are triggers? It helps you to understand how to even understand triggers that you may go through. It helps you to understand the conscious and the subconscious. Many people don't even understand the subconscious thinking. What is that? Many people don't know what that is. So it helps you there. It helps you to understand how to even create a vortex of wealthy thinking in your life. How do I think wealthy? How do I think things and different things like that? And so this particular book for me is one of those particular tools that you can take. I like to call it a tool because you will be able to follow the steps in this particular book in such a way where at the end of it, you will be able to understand how to really navigate and bring your mind into a wealthy place. Now, with my other books, the things that distinguish this book from my other books that I have out there, my other books, they lean a lot towards towards just helping you to really understand who you are in God, right? They lean towards helping you to really come to a place where you understand the dynamics of like who you are and different things like that. Though they have some core principles in it, those particular books were really dealing with a whole lot of the church arena, where this particular book right here, it has things about understanding certain principles in the word of God, but most of all, it also have the natural aspects in it, which will kind of help you to understand how to navigate through life from a natural aspect, because God ain't everybody thing. So I'm not trying to push that on everybody. But what I do want people to know is that there is help, right? You can get the help, and how you're able to get the help is understanding tools and strategies that you can utilize personally, that can develop you in as a whole person, right? Not just develop in this area or that area or that area, but in this book, this last book that I just wrote, it helps you to understand how to bring the whole person into divine alignment, that you may live a very wealthy life.
Dr. Sharmee Pratt. We have her here. A new book is 8 Steps to Wellness, 8 Steps to Mental Wealth.
Yes.
And you can get that at drsharmeepratt.com. It's been a pleasure. Are you on social media also?
I am on social media at Sharmee L. Pratt or Sharmee Pratt. And you can find me on there. I also have a page called Beautiful Minds on Facebook. And it's just a page where I just constantly send things out to encourage people from the mindset standpoint.
May is Mental Health Month. We got to get you back on here.
Okay.
Things that we need to talk about and relate to, current events and things of that nature. And like I said, mental health, and you see a lot of people breaking down. So we're gonna get your opinion on different things, and we're gonna allow people to see, your point of view on things and your expertise and dealing with stuff, and also tell them and encourage them to go get them books. So we thank you for coming on blacktruth.net. Want everybody to check this out. Go to the website and check out, get on social media, and blessings to you and yours for coming out here. And like I said, we're going to get you back on here. We're going to talk to you soon. So thanks for stopping by, and enjoy your day. And, peace and blessings to you over there.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
blacktruth.net.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? It's the chef. Cooling right now. Black Truth News. You know what it is.
Hi, my name is Ari Atlantic. Shout out to Black Truth News.
Black Truth News. What DJ Paul? Yep.
Yo, this is Flip Star. You know what I mean? Right now you're watching Black Truth News. We tell the truth. Tell lying names. What's up, Black Truth News?
Yo, shout out to Black Truth News, man. It's you, Golf Wu-Tang, man. Black Truth News. Y'all already know it.
What's up, this Crime Mob? And you checking out Black Truth News. Black Truth News, baby, check it out.
blacktruth.net.